What do you do when you're invisible? Amelia stood in front of the mirror, the harsh fluorescent lights casting a sterile glow over her reflection. Her eyes were tired, like she'd been awake for days, but it wasn't the sleep that weighed her down. It was the feeling that she was invisible. The other girls were laughing at the far side of the locker room, their voices echoing in the small space. Amelia pulled at the hem of her oversized sweatshirt, trying to shrink into herself. She was always in the background, always a shadow, never seen unless it was to be ignored or ridiculed. It didn't help that she was new and different. Her hair was frizzy, her skin dotted with freckles that never seemed to disappear, no matter how much she tried to cover them. And her clothes, a mismatched collection of hand-me-downs that never fit quite right. Every day she looked at the girls around her, their polished appearances, their effortless confidence. The world spun around her, and she simply existed in it, unnoticed. One of the girls, Sarah, tossed her towel at Amelia's head as she passed by. The towel barely touched Amelia's face, but it hit harder than any words ever could. The laughter that followed only reminded her of what she'd known her whole life. She wasn't one of them. Did you hear that? Sarah's voice cut through the chatter. Amelia quickly turned away, pretending she hadn't been listening. She doesn't even have the guts to stand up for herself. Amelia clenched her jaw. She could feel the sting of their laughter behind her. She could feel how they thought of her. But it wasn't just the laughter, it was the silence, the absence of acknowledgement that made her feel as though she was nothing but a blur. A sudden jolt, a flicker of light, she stumbled backward, her reflection in the mirror flickering. Amelia froze, staring at her own reflection. Had it been her, a pulse of energy, just for a split second? Her hands trembled. She shook her head. No, it couldn't be. She glanced nervously at the door. What if they'd seen? What if they knew? Maybe it wasn't the world that didn't see her. Maybe it was Amelia herself. What if the place you were supposed to feel safest became your prison? Amelia wasn't sure how long she'd been sitting in the car when she finally realized it was getting dark. Her hands were cold on the steering wheel, fingers tightening and loosening, unsure of whether she was gripping for control or trying to hold herself together. She didn't want to go home. The house loomed ahead, the lights dim from where she was parked a block away. There was a familiar heaviness in her chest and ache. She could already hear the voice in her head, the voice that had been there since she was a little girl, whispering things she never wanted to hear. "You're worthless." It was her mother's voice, sharp and cold, cutting through the memories like glass. Amelia's mother had never been affectionate. She was distant, always controlling, always watching. She had high expectations, expectations that no child could meet. And when Amelia fell down, she always failed. It was always her fault. Always. Amelia opened the door slowly, her footsteps quiet against the wooden floor. She couldn't remember the last time she felt at ease in this house. The walls seemed to close in, the air thick with unspoken words and judgments. "You're late." Her mother's voice was low but commanding, coming from the living room. Amelia's heart dropped. She'd been dreading this. "I'm sorry, Mum. The bus. Excuses." Her mother cut her off. "There's no excuse for being late. You need to be perfect. Perfection is the only thing that matters." Amelia nodded, the familiar sting of her mother's disapproval curling in her stomach. She didn't argue anymore. She never did. There was no point. Amelia had learned long ago that it was easier to avoid the wrath of her mother by staying quiet, by staying small. But it wasn't just the silence that stung. It was the emptiness, the lack of warmth, the constant feeling of being less than. Amelia wanted to scream, wanted to cry, but instead she held her breath, steadying herself against the onslaught of the storm that would come. As she turned to leave the room, her mother's voice stopped her, like a fist around her heart. "You're not enough, Amelia. You'll never be enough." How could she believe in herself when even the one person who was supposed to love her didn't? What if the powers you were afraid of could be the very thing that saves you? Amelia was at her desk, staring at the homework in front of her, the words on the page blurred together, every sentence slipping through her fingers like sand. She had been trying to focus for the past hour, but the pressure in her head, almost like a low hum, was relentless. It wasn't the math, it wasn't the homework, it was everything. Her mother, her classmates, her loneliness, the pressure of it all pounding against her skull. She could feel it, that buzzing sensation again, like a flicker of heat inside her chest, spreading outward. She breathed slowly, trying to control it. But the words on the page still wouldn't make sense. Breathe, Amelia, focus. But then a crackling sound interrupted her thoughts. She looked up. The pencil on her desk had shifted, sliding to the edge. She stared at it. The hum inside her grew louder, as if something inside her was trying to break free. The pencil shot across the room with a sudden burst of force. Amelia jumped, her heart racing. She hadn't even touched it. The sharp snap of the pencil breaking against the wall sent a chill through her spine. Her mind spun. She tried to speak, but her throat tightened. This wasn't normal. This wasn't something she could control. She had to be dreaming, had to be. Amelia stood up, hands shaking, her mind racing. What if I'm not the one doing this? Maybe this wasn't a curse. Maybe it was a gift, if only she could learn how to use it. The invitation arrives at the most unlikely time. It's not a grand gesture. There's no pomp and circumstance, no elaborate announcement. It's a simple, folded piece of paper left on Elara's desk at school from a classmate she barely knows, Charlie Weller. "Will you go to prom with me?" It reads, in messy handwritten lettering with a tiny sketch of a rose in the corner. Elara stares at it, her heart hammering in her chest. She barely registers the noise around her, her friends chatting, the buzz of lockers slamming shut, students running through the halls, but the piece of paper is all she can see. Charlie Weller, the shy, quiet kid who sits behind her in chemistry class, who's always been too awkward to even make eye contact. The same one who's seen her at her worst, when she was laughing a little too loudly or getting picked on in the halls. A part of her wants to laugh at the absurdity of it. Why would someone like him want to go with someone like her? She's the girl with a broken family, the girl with too many strange tendencies, the girl who's always been a little different. But there's something else in his eyes that she's never seen before: sincerity. He isn't mocking her or making some cruel joke. He's offering something real, a chance perhaps to be seen, to be normal, just for one night. At first, Elara is hesitant. She's been burned before by the world around her. It's always seemed like every gesture, every kindness has some hidden agenda. But something shifts in her. Maybe it's the way Charlie never looked at her with judgment, or how he never seemed afraid of her strange quirks. The weight of the question lingers, almost suffocating her. Should she go? Should she even entertain the idea? The thought of being in the same room as everyone, her classmates, her peers, terrifies her. What if they find out what she can do? What if they see the power in her, the thing she's been hiding for so long? But then again, what if it's her chance to step out of the shadows? What if it est her moment to prove that she est more than just her mother's daughter? That she's more than her telekinetic abilities? She's tired of hiding, tired of being small. The decision comes easier than she expects. She tucks the invitation into her bag, closes her eyes for a moment, and makes her choice. She's going to prom. The moment Elara makes her decision, she feels a strange sensation wash over her, a sudden rush of power, of energy, as though the universe itself is leaning in, watching her. But what if she's not ready for what comes next? What will happen when you step into the light? The night of the prom, Elara stands in front of the mirror, adjusting her dress. It's the first time she feels something close to hope-like. Maybe, just maybe, this night could be different. She's always been a quiet presence, fading into the background. But tonight, for the first time, she feels seen. Her mother, who's been absent for days, left her a simple note: "Do well, don't cause trouble." No affection, no support, just a command. She tries to shake off the sting of her mother's indifference as she heads to the venue, feeling her nerves tighten as she gets closer. But when she arrives, the air is electric. Her classmates are already in full swing, dancing, laughing, and celebrating as if nothing in the world could go wrong. But Elara knows better. She knows it won't be long before everything unravels. A sudden shove from one of the popular girls makes her stumble. The same girl, Jenna, who's been at the heart of the rumors and whispers about her. Jenna flashes an insincere smile as she walks away, her friends laughing in the distance. For a second, Elara thinks of using her telekinesis, pushing them away, making them feel small like she has so many times before. But she holds back. She doesn't want to become what they expect her to be, does she? "I can't lose control tonight," Elara tells herself. She forces a smile and makes her way toward her seat, trying to blend in. But there's a tension in the air, something that feels like a storm waiting to break. And soon enough, it does. As Elara watches from the sidelines, Jenna approaches her again, this time with a mock-sympathetic smile. She holds something in her hand-glass of punchant as she passes Elara's table. She accidentally spills it all over her lap. Everyone laughs. Elara freezes. The crowd watches, and just for a moment, the world feels like it's slowing down. Elara's hands shake, and she feels the pressure building inside her chest. Her thoughts scatter. She feels her control slipping. She has two choices: let it happen and be the punchline of the night, or the laughter fills her ears like a wave, crashing over and over. It's unbearable, but something shifts within her, a pulse of raw emotion that pushes her past the point of no return. Elara's breathing quickens. The air around her feels heavy, charged with something almost electric. It starts as a hum, a barely noticeable vibration that builds in her chest. Jenna's laughter continues, and Elara sees the smirks of her classmates. Their eyes glint with malice. The heat of humiliation crawls through her veins. She doesn't know why she lets it go this far. She doesn't want to hurt anyone, but the rage she's been keeping inside for years is starting to spill over. Stop, her voice cracks. But they don't stop. They don't even see her as she's drowning in her own frustration. Then everything happens at once. The lights flicker and dim. Music, a force, rips through the room, shattering glass and sending chairs tumbling. Elara's hands reach out instinctively, and the world around her shifts. Her eyes flash as objects fly in every direction: b-balls, chairs, people. The crowd screams. Chaos erupts, but Elara doesn't stop. She's not herself anymore. She's something else, something dangerous. The force that's been simmering beneath the surface now explodes outward, consuming the space. Jenna's shrill scream cuts through the noise as she's thrown to the ground, her friends scattering, but Elara's vision blurs as she feels the power surge inside her, taking her somewhere dark, somewhere she doesn't recognize. In the wreckage of the chaos, Elara stands alone. Her chest heaves as the adrenaline fades, leaving behind a strange emptiness. The room is silent now. All eyes are on her. The reality of what she's just done sinks in, and with it, the crushing weight of what's to come. "What have I done?" Elara whispers, her voice shaking. The aftermath of the prom feels like a waking nightmare. Elara can't escape the memories, the images of what she's done. The destruction, the terror she caused it, haunts her. Her phone buzzes non-stop with messages, mostly filled with fear and accusations, some with pity. She sees the flashing headlines already. Prom gone wrong. Elara Pierce's violent outburst. She spends the following days in a haze. Her mother returns from a business trip, her anger palpable, but there's no real concern. Just orders to stay quiet, to keep the world from knowing the truth. "You've ruined everything," her mother says, her voice cold. "You're a danger to everyone around you. This power you have is a curse." Elara's heart shatters. She knows her mother is right. She's lost control, again. But the message from a friend, one who saw her in a new light that night, lingers with her. Maybe you just need to learn to control it, Elara. You're not broken, you're different. It's the first time anyone's said something like that to her. Elara stands in front of the mirror once again. The girl she sees isn't the same one she was weeks ago. There's a strength there now, a new understanding of herself. But the weight of her actions still hangs over her. What happens now? She wonders. Her reflection seems to ask the same question back. What will she do with the power she has? Elara sits alone in her room, the air thick with anticipation. The weight of her actions presses down on her chest, but it's not just guilt she feels, it's anger. A fierce, burning need to understand why she's been treated like this her entire life, why no one's ever believed in her, and why despite all the pain she's still trying to make sense of it. The knock on the door is sharp, demanding. Elara. Her mother's voice calls from the hallway, thin and cold. We need to talk. She doesn't wait for an answer before pushing the door open. There's something different in her eyes today. It's the same disappointment, the same edge of disdain. But today it's mixed with something else. Fear. The tension between them feels like a string pulled too tight, about to snap. Elara stands, facing her mother. Her mind races, her thoughts tangled in the storm of emotions coursing through her. The power inside her is still there, simmering beneath the surface. But she won't use it, not this time. This time, it's about words. It's about finally being heard. Her mother crosses her arms, her gaze cold, assessing. You think you can control it now? She asks, her voice low. You think that power of yours will make everything better? It's dangerous, Elara. You're dangerous. Elara takes a deep breath. She doesn't want to be dangerous. She doesn't want to hurt anyone. But she doesn't want to be the girl her mother sees, either the girl who's never enough. You're wrong, Elara says, her voice trembling, but growing stronger with each word. I don't need to be controlled. I don't need to be fixed. I just need to be free. I need to be me. Her mother laughs, a hollow sound. Me? What are you even saying? You don't even know what you are. I know exactly who I am. Elara snaps, her words sharp and raw, the power inside her threatening to break free again. But she holds it back, swallowing the fire in her chest. She's not going to lose control, not with her mother. There's a pause, a silence that feels endless, stretching between them. Elara can hear her own heartbeat pounding in her ears. Then her mother steps forward, her eyes narrowing. If you continue down this path, Elara, I will make sure you never see the light of day again. You'll be nothing but a liability. The threat hangs heavy in the air. The final line in the sand. Elara feels a surge of something deep, something fierce. For the first time, she realizes that she doesn't have to be afraid. Not anymore. Not of her mother. Not of the world. She has the power to change her fate. And so, for the first time in her life, Elara does something her mother can never take back. She leaves it. Elara takes one last look at her mother, the woman who's controlled her, manipulated her, broken her. There's no more fear in her eyes, only resolve. I'm done. She steps out of the room and into the hallway, and as she walks toward the door, her mother's voice rings out behind her, desperate, filled with venom. You'll regret this, Elara. You'll come crawling back. You always do. But Elara doesn't turn around. She doesn't need to. The days that follow are like a dream. Elara walks away from everything: the house, the life, her mother's toxic grip. She doesn't know exactly where she's going or what comes next, but for the first time, she feels like she's in control of her destiny. The city feels different, now freer, larger, like an entire world just opened up before her. She moves in with a friend, someone who saw her for who she really was and didn't judge her. The friend offers her a room, a safe space, a place to breathe. It's not perfect, but it's hers. Elara starts rebuilding, slowly, cautiously, but with a determination she never had before. She takes control of her life, finding a job, taking classes, and learning more about her telekinesis. Trying to understand it, not as something to fear, but as part of who she is. There are whispers of the events at the prom, of course. Rumors swirl, but Elara doesn't pay them any mind. She's not the girl they think she is. She knows now that she'll ask something else, someone who doesn't have to answer to anyone else. She's free, but there's one thing Elara can't escape: the gnawing question in her mind. What now? She's standing on the edge of something bigger than she's ever known. The possibilities are endless, but so are the dangers. She could take the power she has and change the world, or she could lose herself along the way. But for now, she knows one thing for sure. She's done hiding, and she's done being controlled. As Elara walks down the busy street, the sun setting behind her, she doesn't look back. The city is alive with movement, with people, with life, and for the first time in her life, she feels a part of it. I'm not broken, she whispers to herself, her voice full of conviction. The power inside her hums softly, like a promise. And this time, it's hers to wield. Do we ever truly know the limits of who we can become?
Every story carries a lesson. If this one reached you, subscribe to watch more videos like this.